So Pamela, thanks so much for talking to us. If you wouldn't mind, can you just introduce yourself to collectively?
Sure, absolutely. My name is Pamela Paquin. I come from Massachusetts, and I recently started last year a company called Petit Morpher, which has a lot of people talking right now. So that's part of what this interview is about.
Yeah,
So thank you for having me, Scott.
yeah. Can you explain, just tell the audience what this business is about specifically?
Sure. Specifically, I go out personally and have a license to collect and harvest fur off of animals that have died accidentally on the roads. And then I turn it into very high-end couture pieces, kind of made to measure wearable art.
So you're going out and finding roadkill and turning them into beautiful pieces.
Exactly. It's a resurrection.
First of all, it's sort of like, why isn't this being done more often?
Yeah.
But also there is a little bit of a potential ick factor, I think.
I hear people very often say, I can't believe nobody's doing this. Actually, people are, and they have been for a long time. It's just been an underground movement. Some people refer to it as vulture culture. I know a woman in Florida who makes teddy bears. There's a woman in the UK who's doing this. So there are people all over the world who've been doing this for a long time. I just happen to make pieces that look a lot like what we see in mainstream fur already. It's a culturally pleasing and acceptable image, which I think is why it's going viral right now. The ick factor, yes, all of us have driven past an animal that's rotting on the side of the road in the summertime in 90-degree weather, and we smell it, and it should rightly turn our stomachs. It's very upsetting. Rotting protein is an awful smell. I harvest my animals only in the winter, so there's not that issue any more so than somebody picking up a chicken in the supermarket.
Why did you start to do this?
It really goes back to my childhood. I was raised on a farm. I was raised that if you're going to eat meat, that you need to participate in raising it well and respectfully. And while I was living in Europe, both in Scotland and in Denmark, I was working on two separate organic farms. And the practices that they were putting into place was to actually be able to slaughter the animals on the farm, which was much more humane. But really, what I would say is my profession as a sustainability consultant these last 20 years is looking or working with organizations and communities and cultures at where is their conflict, where is their pain, where is their violence, where is their tension, where is their inefficiency. So whether this is a petrochemical company dealing with how to refine oil in the least toxic way possible, or the same oil company dealing with an oil spill and the communities that are involved, that's where I would step in typically. And so for me, when I had a daughter and I came back to the United States with her, I grew up here, and there were just bodies everywhere. And I had forgotten how many bodies there were because in Europe, it's largely deforested and used for agricultural purposes. So there's just not as much wildlife. And saw it was very upsetting to me, did some research. It's 1 million a day. So that is 7 times the amount that the global fur industry uses every year. There's an excessive amount of animals dying by accident, which is a shame, but we all deal with it. People don't want to buy fur. They don't want to be associated with fur because these animals are being held in cages and often, living and dying in very upsetting ways to many people. It got to the point really where I wanted to do something. I was kind of tired of consulting and teaching, and I wanted to practice what I preached. And that really very literally meant getting a knife, getting a hazmat suit, getting a license, and going out and scooping up a dead raccoon.
We talked on the phone the other day, and one of the things that stood out to me is that you said that you don't really consider yourself a fashion designer.
I know, it's so odd. Because that's what I'm being called right now. Fashion designers disrupting the fur industry or whatever it is. No, I am not a fashion designer. I love clothes. I've never been an artist. It's my only form of personal expression. But that said, I've been a sustainability consultant and professional for 20 years. That is the angle I came in at this on. I also know that people can learn a new craft halfway through their life, and that's what I'm doing. I work with specialists, so I have a seamstress and a tailor and even a local furrier, the only furrier really who actually constructs garments here in Boston rather than in China. I'm working with him because he knows how to do this. I don't have that skill and I don't have the machinery. The onus is on me to prove that this is a viable option. As far as they're concerned right now, it takes a lot of effort to go out and harvest roadkill, and I need to show how it can operationally be done. I think fur speaks for itself. As long as I can make it relatively appealing to the general market, and I think for me that includes not having faces or tails or bones, then I think that the fur will sell, and that's what I'm experiencing right now.
Pamela, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Scott.